Hey everybody, Tim Schmidt here, founder of Dry Dock Consulting. I am here in a campground in southern Minnesota, and I want to just bring you along to a little bit of a journey that I'm in the middle of. You can see my license plate here on my Toyota FJ says the 7Fs, and 11 years ago I wrote a book about the 7Fs with a buddy of mine, and 11 years later, I'm still scoring my 7Fs on my faith and my family and my finances and my fitness and my friends, my fun and my future. And you know what's so fascinating is it changes all the time. But the more I do it, the more I need to take action. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tour of my campground here to give you some inspiration and encouragement to act on any of the 7Fs that you feel you could improve in. The other thing that I wrestle with is if you think about the logo of Dry Dock, the red area represents all the resistance, all the pushback that the world is providing, the resistance of procrastination, and resistance of fear of success, fear of failure, dramatization, victimhood, drugging ourselves with pornography or alcohol. All kinds of ways that we need to be self-aware of. And so I'm out here in the woods for 3 days to just kind of let my soul catch up to my body. And so I'll just walk around the campsite. Well, here's my tent trailer. I bought this used during COVID as a way to just get away and have some quiet. I actually named her Ellie, after the author John Eldredge, who wrote the book Wild at Heart, which really spoke to me as a guy. And so I'm out here. Let's see. I brought my mountain bike, and there are my hiking shoes. It's funny. Last night I have a friend that I invited over, and he insisted that we have a little taste test the difference between Scotch and bourbon to see if we could to taste the difference, because he's a bourbon guy and I'm a Scotch guy. And so I moved my friend score up a little bit by inviting him out here. Yeah, the book I'm reading while having some quiet time is the Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I just love this, my good old-fashioned Jetboil, which allows me to create French press coffee in the morning. It's the best. But I've got two things in front of me. One of them is the number 4 life lesson in the 90-day focus and 90-day challenge was journaling. And so I said, what are the 10 things that I want to accomplish by getting out here, getting out of the rush of life? And this is what I wrote down. Slow the pace down. Examine all aspects of my life, all across the 7Fs. Explore the resistance, which is exactly what is true on my logo. Because if we explore what the resistance is, what the pushback is in terms of having a flourishing life, these 7 blue lines represent the 7Fs. And so to explore that, set goals for the next 6 months. Review my 101 lifetime goals. That, by the way, is also one of the categories in the 90-day challenge. Listen to what God would tell me. Have enough courage to have peace so that I can listen better. Pray, journal, read, be alone, create a plan for reentry, and fitness. Examine my exercise and my calorie intake. I got to work on all these things. I don't know, maybe you do too. And then lastly, number 6 lesson in the 90-day challenge was about daily affirmations. And I've been telling myself this now for a year. Here are just 4 of my 13 daily affirmations. I plan ahead to enrich friendships. Well, there's my buddy who came by with the Scotch and the bourbon. Number 2, my next adventure is scheduled. Just having that on the calendar is a big deal. I dream big and make small steps in that direction. And lastly, I reduce negative media and increase positive learning. How are you doing on your 7Fs? Let's dig in now on the next 3 principles in the 90-day challenge. Hey everybody, Tim Schmidt here, founder of Dry Dock Consulting, and I am in the middle of a forest here in southern Minnesota, specifically Whitewater State Park. Beautiful park for hiking and bluffs, camping. And we are in the middle of our 90-day challenge. And I thought I would just bring you along. I'm spending 3 days out here in the woods. Just a little bit of time to reflect, do some writing, reading, prayer, meditation. And so I thought I'd bring you along. The next 3 challenges of our 90-day challenge to unleash the elite leader within you. Remember, our first focus was invest in yourself. And the second focus is what we're wrapping up with, and that is invest in others. Number 14 in our 90-day challenge, the 5 love languages. Gary Chapman rocked the world when he wrote his book and research about the 5 love languages. Well, I was challenged to put this to good use at work in my business. And so one day, about 5 years ago, I sent one of our top advisors an email. He was number 2 in our firm, doing a phenomenal job. And I sent him an email and simply said, I just wanted to reach out and tell you how proud I am of you for being number 2, and you're only 40,000 in sales out of first place. Well, I expected to get a nice note back. The note I got back was kind of stunning. He said, I don't appreciate this email. Thank you very much. I was thrown back on my heels. And what I realized was I was not speaking the language that he loved to hear. Gary Chapman put these 5 love languages together many, many years ago, primarily around marriage originally, and that we all have primary love languages. And the 5 love languages are words of affirmation or words of encouragement, personal touch, acts of service, quality time, and gift giving. All of us could rank those from number 1 to number 5 in terms of the number 1 way we like to receive love. And if you think about the story of this advisor that I was managing years ago, he was not words of encouragement, because the rest of his email went like this: but I would love to grab lunch with you and get some ideas from you as my coach. He's quality time, not words of encouragement. Years ago, my wife and I taught a class to a group at church on these 5 love languages, and there was one story that I just crack up every time I think about it. We had asked everybody to complete their top 5 in order of ways that they like to receive love from their spouse, their partner. And so they did that. And one of the gentlemen, a very wealthy family, he had been accustomed to buying his wife really, really expensive gifts to show how much he loved her. Tennis bracelets. I think there was even a car thrown in there at one time. But through the course of this exercise, he learned that her number 1 love language was words of affirmation. That when he bought her a Hallmark card and he wrote something in the card very personal, it brought her to tears. She was moved by exactly what he said and the words that he chose. And as we were walking out to our cars afterwards, he said to me, "Do you know how much money you just saved me?" Well, it's so interesting. When I do keynote speeches, sometimes I'll ask the audience what was their number 1 if we were to cover this topic. And I have to believe 50 to 60% are words of encouragement or words of affirmation, which lines up with the number 1 human need is to feel valued and to make a difference. That's the number 1 human need. And so to be encouraging people with affirmation and encouragement will go a long, long way. One of the most creative ideas that I did over the last 10 years, or I got good feedback on, is I got the addresses of the parents of the 120 advisors that reported into my firm. And I wrote the parents a letter at the end of the year about their child. And it went something like this: I just want to let you know how well candidate or individual performed last year. Her effort to impact lives in her business, in her community, were extraordinary. Next paragraph. I wanted to thank you for your role in their success, your efforts to raise them in such a way that they are of highest integrity and work ethic. And I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. The crazy thing is, I had a gentleman come up to me 3 years later with a frame. And inside of that frame was that letter I wrote to his dad. His dad framed it and kept it. And he said, Tim, this is the only time I've ever seen my dad cry, when he shared your letter with me. This section is all about investing in others. The leader is within you to perform in such a way. And here ends number 14, the 5 love languages.